Hey folks, it's Tom, your frugal prepper. I got the tiller running. The just being a, I got the carb back on there, and then that long tube, the screen on the end was plugged up, so I had to take the screen off of that fuel tube, which I'm going to try to get a replacement for that tube because it acts as kind of like the filter for the tube, to keep the carburetor from getting plugged up. But now this tiller's always had kind of a bad fuel cap. It doesn't seal tight, and it'll get gas down along the tank sometimes if you fill it up too full. And then if it backfires coming out of that muffler, which it does every once in a while, it'll catch on fire. It's usually just a little fire, and I throw some dirt on it. Like you can see, I had to throw some dirt on it here yesterday. Um, but yesterday I had a real scary event. But anyway, before I go into all that, once I got that back together, got the screen cleaned, then the starter head broke. The spring broke inside the starter, the pull start. So I had to take that apart and rig it up, like you can't see it here, but where that spring comes out, I had to pull it through and bend it over because the little tab broke off on the end. Then I got that back together, and the rope broke, so then I had to take it back apart and fix the rope. It just broke right on the end where the knot was. Then the wheel fell off, so the cotter pin had rusted, so I had to put some washers and another cotter pin in the wheels. It was just like everything kept happening yesterday. But at one point yesterday, I stopped to refuel it. So I shut it down, everything was good, and it actually hadn't splashed any gas. I opened up the gas tank, and then I was using my little fuel siphon pump to transfer some gas into the tank, because I usually just put a couple squirts at a time, keep it kind of low so it doesn't splash out. And the tank ended up, as soon as I started putting fuel in there, the tank just caught on fire. I don't know if some hit the muffler and it was still hot enough or whatever, even though it wasn't running. And then that caught the fuel transfer tube on fire. That followed it down to the gas can, which I then dropped because it was on fire and in my hand. It spilled over, and I had gas and grass. The fuel transfer tube was on fire. The tiller was on fire. You can see the fire was actually hot enough that this bottle of water for drinking was sitting about 6 feet away, and it melted that bottle right there, right in here. It melted the plastic in the bottle of water. Luckily, I had a fire extinguisher that I keep in the shed. This is an old one that somebody didn't bother to get recertified. They just got a new extinguisher, but it still worked. I'll show you, the can actually doesn't look much worse for the wear, even though there's a few little dark scorch marks on it. Oh, but I don't know if you can see where the end of that tube melted, and the end of this tube melted from where it was on fire. But that was pretty scary. I just had to run over. Once I realized there's no way I'm going to put that out by putting a little dirt on it, I was really afraid that gas tank, which is about full of 5 gallons of fuel, was going to just blow up. But it didn't. It just had a big flame coming out where the spout was, and lucky it didn't get back inside the tank and blow up or anything. And then I basically stood as far back as I could and just hit it with the fire extinguisher. And I did start it up afterwards until just a little more to make sure it still ran. You see this gray patch of dirt? That's from the fire extinguisher material. It basically just smoked up the whole backyard and the neighbor's backyard with the dust that came out of that extinguisher. It was a pretty thick cloud. So I think I've about got this bed to where I need it to be to put in my first Mittleider bed. So I've ordered a new fuel cap that won't leak, and I'm ordering that piece for the carburetor, that tube. And I'll probably get that stuff done first before I move on to the other 20-foot bed over here, and I'll just go ahead and get this one framed in and ready to go while I'm waiting on it to come. So I guess the lesson to be learned there is when I need to refuel this tiller is just to let it cool down completely first. Wait 5 minutes and then put fuel in it. Don't do it right after I shut it off. But anyway, that's it for now, folks. I always try to have lots of fire extinguishers around. I've had that fire extinguisher in my shed for like 3 years or something. Well, not that specific one, but I've had one in the shed for like 3 years now. And if I hadn't had it, by the time I would have ran back into the house to get one and get back out here, I probably would have had a major explosion on my hand once that gas can started to melt and spew fuel. So anyway, everybody be safe and happy and be frugal out there. This is Tom, your Frugal Prepper.